is going to be a tough fight. Come on, come on, come on. Wait, why isn't it working? It's the wrong controller. Yeah. Oh, I tell you what, that was a roller coaster of emotions, and there were times when I didn't think I was going to win. But if it got to that point, I did have the ultimate attack ready to use. And as you can see, I have a brand new t-shirt, as my old one was sadly falling to bits, which is a shame because I really like that top. I will miss it.
Bye, have a great time.
Yeah, but anyway, speaking of Dragon Ball, I'm a bit of a fan, you might have noticed. And on that bookcase behind me is dedicated to the franchise. And as much as I love the anime, the manga and even the music, you can't talk about Dragon Ball without mentioning the video games.
You're goddamn right.
And of course the most recent one just happens to be Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. But before I get ahead of myself, I think we need to go back to the past to learn more. In the worlds of anime and manga, there are of course some big players that have garnered a loyal fan base over the years. Some of these heavy hitters of the small screen as well as the books are of course the legendary Kinnikuman and its wrestling premise, going all the way to the pirate escapades of One Piece, and not forgetting Berserk with its nightmare-fueled content. Yeah, do you know what? It still bums me out that Kentaro Miura sadly passed away, but I do believe that the Berserk series will continue.
Excellent!
With anything that is popular, there is usually a video game tie-in, which of course happened with the Kinnikuman series, which had a number of games, and so did Berserk. And as much fun as these titles were, there is one particular franchise that is instantly recognisable all around the world.
Oh, really?
I'm of course referring to the legendary Dragon Ball, which has a list of video games a mile long. But for those that don't know anything about this amazing series, let's recap quickly. From the legend himself Akira Toriyama, the Dragon Ball franchise follows the trials and tribulations of Son Goku, who throughout his journey would come face to face with some of the biggest and deadliest opponents the world has ever seen. Obviously I'm not going to reveal too much, especially for those that want to watch the series. But for us fans, we were treated to some absolute classic battles. But how many of you out there put your hands up in the air when Goku was asking for energy? Well. Anyway, as I mentioned earlier, Dragon Ball would eventually enter the realm of video games with quite a number of titles. But it was the fighting genre where the series really stood out, and the games that appeared on the Super Nintendo as well as the Mega Drive were quite fun to play, as were the titles that appeared on the PlayStation. But it's the Budokai as well as the Tenkaichi series where the Dragon Ball franchise really left its mark. Now, for me I would have to say that Budokai Tenkaichi 2 is one of my favourites, although the third one is pretty good as well. But it's from these games that the foundations for an open world Dragon Ball game would soon begin. With various fighting titles available, fans of the series were still hoping for an open world Dragon Ball game. And even though there were a couple of adventure titles that tried their best at recreating the excitement of the series, it was the announcement of an official open world Dragon Ball game that really sparked a massive interest in the world of gaming. Being a fan, I was super excited when this was announced, and in 2020, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot spirit bombed its way onto gaming systems. Finally, fans got their hands on a Dragon Ball game that they'd always dreamed about. And sure, Xenoverse as well as its sequel may have set the foundations, it was Dragon Ball Z Kakarot that took things to a whole new level. Being able to play as Goku in the majority of the Z fighters in a semi-open world was of course a fan's ultimate dream. And every time I play Kakarot, I always find something new.
Nice.
Mixing RPG elements with fighting mechanics had obviously been done in the past by other games, but with Kakarot it just felt a little bit more special. And with so many different collectibles available through this amazing title, some could say that Kakarot is perhaps one of the greatest games set within the Dragon Ball universe. However, I can only say so much when it comes to Kakarot without spoiling it, but I do recommend playing this amazing game to experience the charm and fun of the Dragon Ball franchise. Overall, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is a roller coaster of a game, with its combination of semi-open world areas mixed with RPG elements. Players are certainly treated to a must-have title for any Dragon Ball fan. Now I can only wonder what's next for the series. Will gamers get to play as a young version of Kame before he became the Guardian of Earth, or will we take on the role of the Saiyans and their rise to power? Now that would be a good one.
Wow.
Anyway, come back next time where I review the Super Console X Pro and find out whether or not it's actually worth the money. Thank you so much for watching and see you next game.